Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into something, well, pretty mind-bending. We're looking at a text that claims there's a deep, hidden connection between the poetry of ancient Vedic hymns and, get this, the fundamental physics of our universe. Yeah, it's a wild idea, so let's just dive right in.
So right off the bat, this is the big question the text wants us to wrestle with. Could the actual blueprint of the entire universe be hidden in the rhythm of ancient poetry? I mean, think about that for a second. We're so used to thinking reality is described by math, right? But what if it's also encoded in verse? It's a huge claim, and we're going to spend this explainer unpacking exactly how the text tries to prove it.
All right, so where do you even start with an idea like that? Well, the whole theory really boils down to one single, super important concept from Vedic literature, chanda. Now, you've probably heard this term before, maybe in the context of poetic meter. But according to this text, it's so much more than that.
In this very specific interpretation, chanda isn't just about how a poem sounds, the cadence and rhythm. It's being presented as a fundamental energetic pattern. Think of it like a cosmic wave that actually helps shape the fabric of reality itself. So, to really get on board with the text's logic, we have to shift our thinking. This isn't a literally device. It's a literal building block of the cosmos.
Okay, so if chanda is this system of cosmic waves, the text tells us there's a hero in this story, a very special chanda called Viraj. It's described as having 5 distinct powers, which makes it, uniquely crucial to the whole structure of reality. So, how does it get these superpowers?
Well, here's the thing. The text argues that Viraj isn't powerful just on its own. Its real strength comes from its amazing ability to absorb and embody the key features of 4 other major meters. It's kind of like a master key that holds the patterns of several other keys, plus it has this one unique feature all its own. That's the source of its power.
And this is how the text breaks it down. The source claims Viraj gets its power by essentially combining other meters. See, it shares that 3-line structure, the 3 padas, with Gayatri and Ushnik. That's its foundation. Then it channels the powerful, energetic quality of Trishtubh, which has 11 syllables per line. And even though it has 30 syllables and Anushtubh has 32, the text basically says, close enough. That small difference is negligible, so it absorbs that meter's effect too. So you've got these borrowed traits, plus its own innate quality, and voila, that's where Viraj gets its 5 powers.
Okay, now we're getting to what is, for sure, the most radical part of this whole argument. This is where the text really shifts gears, moving beyond just literary analysis into what it calls the Vaidhyanic Bhashyasar, or scientific commentary. And the whole point here is to convince us that these poetic structures aren't just clever metaphors, they're literal descriptions of physical law. And here it is, the central analogy that everything else is built on. The text draws a direct one-to-one line. The poetic meter, the chanda, that's a physical wave. Each syllable, or akshara, that's a single unit of energy. And the mastery of Viraj, its ability to absorb other meters, well, that's directly compared to a particle, like an electron, absorbing the energy of multiple waves to become more powerful. It's a bold parallel. And this quote, taken right from the text, makes that connection absolutely explicit. It says, when an electron or photon is combined with the Gayatri meter waves, these waves attract other meter waves, and then all of that energy combines with the particle, making the particle even more active. I mean, just listen to that. It's such a striking image, isn't it? Poetry as a physical mechanism for pumping energy into fundamental particles. So after making this really specific link between verse and particles, the text then zooms way out to describe the cosmic laws that supposedly govern this entire system. It argues that all of reality operates under 2 huge foundational principles, Rita and Satya. First up, we have Rita. Now, a good way to think about this is like the universe's source code. It's the unmanifest potential, the pure blueprint. It's the absolute, unchanging set of rules that exists before anything is actually created. It's the law, the root cause. And then you have Satya. So if Rita is the blueprint, Satya is the building in progress. It's the manifest, kinetic, active truth. It's the universe in motion, but, and this is key, it's the universe correctly and faultlessly following the laws laid out by Rita. It's truth in action, not just in principle.
Okay, so within this reality that's governed by Rita and Satya, the text says there are basically two fundamental kinds of particles, and they're given names you'll definitely recognize: devas and manushiyas, which, of course, we usually translate as gods and humans.
But, and this is a big but, in this context, these words are being totally repurposed to describe physical properties. The main difference between these two types of particles isn't about being divine or mortal. It all comes down to their behavior, specifically how regularly and predictably they move and how well they stick to those cosmic laws, Rita and Satya, that we just talked about.
So here's the breakdown. The cosmic cast of characters. You have the devas, which are called truth-bound particles. Their motion is super-regular, stable, and unobstructed. They're the reliable, essential building blocks of the universe with long lifespans. On the other hand, you have the manushas, the untruth-bound particles. Their motion can be irregular, even deviant. They're described as transient, created only for a short time. So the key difference here really is stability versus instability.
And this all brings us to the grand finale, the ultimate goal for any particle in this system. How does a particle go from being unstable to being a stable, deva-like building block? The text describes this final step in his journey, this kind of initiation, into the process of creation itself.
According to the text, for a particle to be able to actually participate in creation, it first has to become truthful. That means its behavior has to perfectly align with Satya, that active cosmic order. And second, it has to achieve what the text calls perceptive speech. Now, obviously, we're not talking about a particle learning to talk. It's a metaphor for a refined, stable, and totally coherent expression of its own energy.
And this chart really lays out the whole journey beautifully. A particle starts as pure potential, part of the cosmic blueprint, Rita. Then it manifests. It comes into being and starts interacting. Step 3 is that crucial energy infusion, just like the Virat meter absorbing the other meters. That leads to step 4, stabilization, where its motion becomes regular and it achieves truth, or Satya. And finally, perceptive speech. The particle is now initiated. It's become a stable, deva-like entity, totally ready to help build the cosmos. It's a complete transformation.
So what are we to make of all this? Is it a literal, forgotten description of physics, or is it a profoundly deep metaphor for the nature of reality? You know, either way, it's an incredibly provocative idea. The text we've just walked through suggests that a whole model of the cosmos is hiding inside ancient poetic meter, and that just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other complex systems of knowledge might be encoded in the deep structural patterns of ancient languages, just sitting there, waiting for us to see them in a new light?